Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. So today I am back to do a tag that was created more than a month ago and I feel like I'm very late to the party on doing it, and it is the Behind the BookTube book tag. This was created by Shelley over at Shelley Swearingen and was created from a bunch of Q&A questions that were sent to Jennifer Brooks, if I'm not mistaken. And it's basically like our own personal insights on our booktubing process and our experiences with BookTube so far. It's been really interesting to see lots of different people's interpretations of these questions and what their experiences have been. So without much further ado, let's just get straight into these questions. No. Oh my god. You want your own insight into Behind the BookTube? I just had a massive panic then because I accidentally deleted all of the notes that I had written for my answers to those questions. Oh no. I don't think that's ever actually happened before, at least not on camera. Oh dear. Okay, yes, let's just get into these questions before I cause any more mischief. Question number one is, what has surprised you the most about BookTube in both a good and a bad way? I know everyone seems to say the community aspect, but it is very true. I was really surprised to find that I could actually develop proper friendships. You know, find people to talk about books with that I could actually become real friends with. It's something that as a viewer, I'd always seen like different groups, different cliques within BookTube, but never thought I could actually make friends myself, because a lot of those friendships all seemed very set in stone. But actually I feel like BookTube is a much better experience when you just want to be friends with everybody and are not trying to like go into one particular niche, one particular group. I feel like in terms of the community aspect, I've been a little bit poorer for that this year, especially when it comes to actually making videos or participating in group events. It's something I do want to desperately get better at. But saying that, this year I have been meeting more booktubers in person than I ever have before, and that's been really lovely. And then something that has surprised me about BookTube in a more negative way is that as much as you may make friends with people, not everybody stays, and that's not necessarily in like a dramatic like falling out way. I don't think I've ever had a falling out with somebody that I've met on BookTube, but just purely not everybody who starts BookTube is in for the long haul. Some people are just testing things out and then they realise it doesn't fit into their schedule. They don't really like posting videos too much, or they would prefer to post on a different platform, and that's completely fine. But it's kind of sad when I think a lot of the people who started making BookTube videos at the same time as I did back in May 2020 are not making videos anymore. And obviously people are very free to come and go as they please, but you know, I just will always miss seeing their faces in my subscription feed. Question number two is, how do you balance reading and BookTube with the rest of your life? And the answer to that is badly. Personally for myself, I keep a schedule because I know that if I didn't have a very strict like twice a week schedule, then because of how haphazard I am about filming, editing and scheduling videos, you know, there would be some weeks where maybe you would see 5 videos from me and then other weeks where you would see nothing at all. So being very intentional about scheduling things in for specific days, for me it is a Tuesday and a Friday, is really important for me, just to make sure that things are consistent, because I want to be consistent, I want to be reliable, even if my brain isn't always so. And the way that I do it is I usually work from home 2 days a week, and then during my lunch times I will try and film a video then. If I don't manage to do that during my work lunches, then I will film on the weekend, but obviously that does eat up time into my free time, so I do want to be a lot more rigorous about making sure, okay, between 1 and 2, Tuesday and Thursday, you are going to be filming. And I just generally want to get better at planning my life so that it does accommodate for filming time, editing time, because at the moment it is very slapdash, even though I feel like it probably looks more organised than it actually is. You'll also know that so far, like pretty much every year on BookTube, I may take 1 or 2 months off of filming, not in one big go, but usually like a month here, a month there, and I want that to be less regular of an occurrence, because the main reason for it is that I've run out of backlog videos and I'm filming things very close to the wire. I don't like doing that, so you know, I feel like if I'm a bit more organised, that will happen less frequently. Question number 3 is, have you ever thought about starting a Patreon? Honest answer is no, and it's purely because I don't think I create anything that is really like content of value. This is not to say that I don't think that anybody who does BookTube videos should be monetizing via Patreon. I absolutely support anybody who wants to do it. I just don't think that anything that I personally do is really worthy of that. I'm not an expert on anything. I don't think I have a particularly like unique analysis style or unique voice or opinions, and I'm not talking about like the most relevant books that everybody's always dying to get their hands on. My videos are pretty much just me talking about my reading at the moment, and as much as I like doing that, I don't think it's something that I personally would feel right asking people to give me money for. I do monetize my videos via AdSense, and I think that is fair enough, and it is in my mind that I would like to start more regularly making videos that are like a bit more useful and a bit more helpful. And I think being a much more organised planner would probably help with that. A lot of it is about my aversion to scripting videos, even though I know that they help me. But I think it would be a while of actually consistently making that sort of content before I would feel comfortable making a Patreon for myself. I could maybe be tempted by setting up a Ko-fi account where it's not like every month somebody's tipping me, but just every now and then. But yeah, I still don't know how I feel about that just for myself. Anybody else who wants to do it, I think that is completely fair enough. Question number 4 is, have you made any mistakes on BookTube? I don't think I've made any massive mistakes, but there are definitely like little things that I have done during BookTube that do just generally annoy me about myself. I don't even know if other people would notice them, but I definitely do. I don't think I've always had the best thumbnails, and even saying that, I put more effort into my thumbnails now, but I know that they're not brilliant. The thumbnails that I create now are just a case of me happily chipping away on Canva. You know, they're not amazing. They basically read like, graphic design is my passion, but I just find them fun, so I do them anyway. And I do think that they are vaguely better than the thumbnails that I was making before. Not by much, but you know, they're more fun for me, and I feel like that at the end of the day is what matters. I would say probably a bigger mistake is that I haven't always factored in the time to answer comments, and as a result I tend to get fewer comments, and that's completely down to me just not making time for it. Part of the reason I don't answer comments is because I will be checking as a video comes up, and I will feel really weird about answering people straight away. Like, you know that thing of if you're texting somebody that you're interested in, you don't want to text too soon. If anybody came to me and said, oh, I feel anxious about that, I would be like, don't be stupid, just respond to them. It doesn't matter what the timing is. But in my head, when it comes to replying to comments on my YouTube videos, I feel like I'm gonna look really sad if I answer people straight away. Like I'm too eager. And I don't know why I do this to myself, because I know it's stupid. And yeah, just generally being more engaged and active within the community. I feel like last year I took too many responsibilities on in my personal life, and that meant that just generally YouTube ended up taking a back seat, even though I didn't want it to. And I'm finding it hard to kind of get back in there. Also partially because I've been working really hard this year on whittling down my TBR. It means that I've been focusing on those books rather than focusing on like BookTube community events like Victober or Jane Austen July. And because I've not been engaged in those events, people don't know that I'm interested in those events. And that's sad, because I do care. I do care very much. I watch all of these videos, I just can't always participate in them. I feel just generally like I can be very in and out of the community, and I do want that to be better, especially as I'm getting close to finishing my TBR. If I have a blank slate with my books, then I can participate a bit more. Question number 5 is, do you have any advice for new booktubers? I don't think I've got any advice that is mind-blowing. Just, you know, give it a try. And that goes for pretty much anything to do with this community. Have a play around with filming videos. Don't feel intimidated by the idea of like having to have a natural flow of speaking, and like you have to be able to like perform it like a speech. The amount of times that I have to cut my videos together in a way that it doesn't look like I've just completely lost my train of thought because my brain has just gone in the middle of filming. Like, it's completely natural. I admire very much the people who can just talk constantly for 30 minutes in a video without having to edit at all. I admire those people so much. They must have much more brain power than I have. But you don't have to be that. You can make videos work for you. And if you're not comfortable with it, then fine, you don't have to post them. I just think it's always important to give things a go, because you never know until you try. I know that's very cliche, but it is true. I also think that having like a content calendar so that you can plan things ahead, you can keep an eye for events that are going to be happening on BookTube, being more methodical about, you know, if I want to post a wrap up every month, then I have to post it on this particular day of the month. If it's July, then maybe I want to participate in Jane Austen July and make a couple of videos about that. And you know, you do have to plan those in, because if you don't plan them, they're not going to happen. I just think as much as it is good to do videos off the cuff and to try and be like relevant to whatever conversation is happening at the time, it can also be really, really helpful to plan ahead some of your videos. Question number 6 is, what are your thoughts on the YouTube algorithm? I have honestly given up hope of ever trying to understand it. I'm pretty sure it doesn't like me, but I also don't think that I should dictate my content around it. Myself and Claudia over at Spencer's Library actually had a discussion about this a couple of years ago. It was part of a bigger project that she was doing for her own channel, interviewing lots of different booktubers, but she very kindly said that I could post the full interview between myself and her on my channel, and that's from a couple of years ago. I will post it down below, and pretty much all of my thoughts from then are still true. Question 7a is, how do you decide what videos to make? For myself, as I've mentioned, I have a YouTube planning calendar on Google in which I keep the month view up. I input any regular monthly videos, seasonal videos and annual videos that I regularly want to work on. Things like roundups, monthly reading vlogs, anticipated releases videos, yearly videos, anything that is to do with specific BookTube events that happen every year. Like I say, Victober, Jane Austen July. I plan roughly when I would like them to go up, and then I work around that with any of my own ideas. And I keep track of all of my like rogue ideas for videos on Notion. I used to just have it on a general OneNote app, but I am trying to cross things over to Notion. I do try and keep things fairly open so that, you know, if anything is going on, if there are any tag videos popping up, if there is a conversation going on BookTube that is really inspiring me, then I do have the space to talk about it. You know, for example, this tag video wouldn't have happened had it not been making its way around the BookTube community. And I'm really, really grateful for that, because there are new questions that I haven't answered before, and yeah, it's always a good time, I think. Question 7b is, are you ever overwhelmed with video ideas? For myself, it's less so that I would get overwhelmed with trying to think of ideas of things to film, and more so that I can get quite stressed about getting video ideas from the idea stage to actually filming it. And because a lot of the time for some of my bigger ideas, that means scripting. And I don't know why I have such a mental block to scripting videos. And I'm starting to think that maybe I need to start voice dictating a lot of my video ideas, because I think it is just like the typing aspect, the writing it aspect that is stressing me out. But when I sit down and kind of like word vomit all of my thoughts about a video, then I actually do manage to do it. I don't understand what's going on there. But yeah, there are quite a few videos that I've had like in the planning stages for years, and I just haven't gotten around to filming them because I know it's going to take a lot of work. But you know, the work is always worth it in the end. So I just need to get it over myself, really. Question number 8 is, have you ever regretted posting a video? No, not a video in its entirety. There have definitely been times when I've gone back on old videos and thought, oh, I wish I'd done that differently, or I'd said this instead of that. The biggest example is a video that I did about all of the Victorian literature that I have read. It is literally one moment in which I talk about North and South, and this is before I had done a reread of North and South, which I did later that month. In fact, I talked about the fact that I wasn't a big fan of North and South because I couldn't get on board with the main character John Thornton, because at the very first time that we meet him, he is beating up a worker. And if you have read North and South and watched the BBC miniseries, you may see where I was going wrong there. I was actually talking about the way that John Thornton is introduced in the BBC miniseries, but he isn't introduced that way in the book, because I was reading and watching North and South pretty much chapter mirroring whatever I was watching on the TV show. I kind of conflated the two in my mind, and so I had basically gone around hating John Thornton because of something that I'd added in the TV series. And hilariously, it wasn't until like way later that anybody actually commented on that video saying, Charlotte, I think you've got that wrong, which I'm very grateful for, because you know, I have a fragile ego, and if somebody had told me that I was wrong in that video, I probably would have like buried my head under the sand and wanted to die. But yeah, that's always like a funny little one, because otherwise I quite like that video. Also, the thing that I get the most comments about on any of my videos of something that I have either done wrong or people think I shouldn't have done it quite the way that I did it, is that in my Les Mis video, where I talk about 8 different recordings of Les Mis and talk about my thoughts and feelings about them, I did not include the Broadway cast recording of Les Mis in that video. If you look at my comparing different versions of Les Mis video, you will see that like 50% of the comments are, where is the Broadway album? Where's the Broadway album? And the reason it's not there is because I didn't know about it, and when I went to search for all of the different versions of Les Mis that have been recorded, the Broadway version just never came up. It's not on Spotify, it wasn't on the Wikipedia page, at least not at the time of filming. So yeah, I just didn't know about it, and that's why it's not there. Maybe one of these days I need to actually listen to the Broadway recording and like actually make my thoughts about it, but there isn't really a way of like inserting a clip like that into an old video. So you know, I feel like forever and ever I'm going to get comments like that. But to be honest with you, I am proud of every video that I have ever made, purely because it took me so long from actually first watching BookTube back in 2013 and thinking to myself, wow, I would love to make videos about books, to actually making them in 2020. So you know, up until that point I never thought I would make BookTube videos, so any video that I make at all is a win for me. You know, maybe in the future I will say something absolutely stupid and wish I'd never made that particular video, but so far, you know, I've not had that feeling, and I'm pretty happy about that. Question 9a is, are the number of views or subscribers meaning to you? You know, numbers are something that I do kind of like make a mental note of, and I do keep track of them. I'm always thrilled when a video does well or when I do get a boost of subscribers, but as I mentioned in that video of Claudia, numbers and views are never going to dictate what kind of content that I make. You know, I know that I make a lot of content that people aren't actually that interested in watching, but I make them because they make me happy. You know, I started doing videos about romance books that I was reading because I had started reading a lot more romance, and you know, a lot of the people who came to my channel came to this channel when I wasn't reading romance, and so you suddenly see a romance book video from me and you're like, Charlotte, what on earth is this? And so they get fewer views, but you know, I am happy when I'm talking about them because I do love romance books. You know, there are occasional book review videos about books that I have never heard anybody talk about, and so people don't really care about them, but I still want to make the video. You know, as I say, it is always nice when lots of people want to watch your videos, and you know, if I can think of ways that, you know, my personal interests and, you know, the viewing public at large's interests could combine, that would would be great. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be sustainable if every video that I do is dictated by what everybody else wants from me, because I'm very stubborn and I don't like doing things that I don't want to do. Basically, I'm 5 years old at heart. Question 9b is, are the numbers of views or subscribers a measurement of success? Honestly, when it comes to my channel, I feel like the numbers in subscribers are much more of a measurement of success to other people than they are to me. You know, every now and then I will get a message from like a family member or a friend being like, oh, I saw you got a lot of views on that video, or I've noticed your subscribe count is like this, that's amazing, ah. And I'm kind of like, well, you know, I suppose if you don't make videos, then, you know, having 2,000 subscribers is a lot, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, it isn't. But that doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for it. You know, I'm grateful for every single person who does subscribe, but I'm not thinking of every single individual subscriber as a marker of my success. You know, it's kind of like, oh cool, there's another person watching who could potentially be somebody that I chat to. That's great. Yeah, it's always nice. I will always celebrate a milestone when it happens, but whether or not my channel is successful is not a factor in whether or not I would continue to make videos. As I've said before, I do want to start making more valuable content, whatever that means. For me, that means, you know, actually helpful, useful content rather than, you know, something I can monetize. Whether that is like recommendations or advice, you know, I don't do a whole lot of that. I was doing that a lot more in the early years of my channel and I just haven't been recently. But it's because I think it would make me personally more satisfied with my videos and what I'm putting out, not because I personally want to get anything out of it, except for perhaps more conversation. I think at the moment my videos are very me oriented. I don't think there is massively anything wrong with my videos being me oriented, because, you know, me is the unique thing, I suppose, about this channel, as it is about everybody's channel, but I would just like to balance it out a little bit. Question number 10 is, are you disappointed by the growth in your channel? Not particularly, considering, you know, the kind of books that I talk about and how I talk about them. I was actually really pleased, especially with like how quickly I got to 1,000 subscribers when I first started. You know, that was really surprising. So anything above that 1,000 has really just been a bonus for me. You know, I noticed that my channel growth did slow down a lot after 2021, but I know that a lot of that is probably to do with my output, especially when I started doing videos that were very dedicated towards Les Mis. Like, my views just dropped off, but I would never have stopped doing those videos because I loved making them. And also, you know, during 2020 I was posting 3 videos a week, and then when I got a job I moved down to doing 2 videos a week. I had less time to plan those videos. I wasn't in my old bedroom with all of my books behind me, which, you know, was a very beautiful background. You know, people do like visually to look at a lot of books, and so I do think that the overall quality in my videos has gone down, and so as a result the growth has been a lot slower. But it's not disappointing at all to me. That is just like a natural thing that would happen. I think you do have to be realistic and pragmatic to a point. And, you know, as much as I do like to celebrate a milestone, and I do, you know, I do check my counter and I think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year? Like, if it doesn't happen, it's not going to personally affect my mood and how I feel about this channel. I'm going to keep posting videos regardless because I find it fun. The only thing I would like to improve is I would just like to get better at actually joining in conversations, whether it's in my own comments or if it's in other people's comments, because I did get into this to actually have conversations with people, and I think that is where I'm personally lacking. Question number 11 is, have you ever thought about quitting BookTube? And the answer is no. I have taken BookTube breaks when I have needed to, but that has always been with the intention of coming back because I really enjoy posting. Pretty much a month into posting my videos I thought, okay, so this is what we're doing now for the rest of time. Probably not going to be for the rest of time, basically up until the point where I physically cannot do it anymore or YouTube decides to disintegrate. You know, you can't be sure about what social media platforms are going to stay. Otherwise, I feel like my life would have to massively change for me to want to stop making videos. But that's just me. Question 12 is both what are the most touching comments and what are the most negative comments? Pretty much anybody wanting to talk to me is touching. I don't think I've ever gotten a supremely like emotional comment from somebody, but you know, I am very much a words of affirmation girl, so if anybody tells me that I've done a good job on a video, it just makes me feel like if I can help people in any way through my videos, then that's always lovely. In terms of more negative comments, you know, I don't tend to get a whole lot of negative comments. I feel like some of my bigger videos that have like slightly wider appeal, like my big Les Mis video, like my Hamnet video, those will tend to attract more negative comments because it's people from like outside my general like subscribership and outside the general BookTube sphere. And you know, occasionally people will get into those comments just wanting to have an argument. I didn't know that Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell could be so divisive, to be honest. I do occasionally get people just picking apart whatever I've said, but generally I don't tend to get a whole lot of negative comments. Honestly, I don't feel like I say anything that is so inflammatory that it would spark that. You know, I'm pretty much a non-confrontational person, so I don't really expect confrontation in my comments. If I had done something like that, then I probably want to hide in a hole because I wouldn't know how to respond to it. Any of my BookTube friends who have actually met me in real life will be able to attest to that. And there have been moments where I have had BookTube friends say, oh, hey, I know you got this comment and I know it made you uncomfortable. Do you want me to respond to it? And I always feel a bit like, oh, okay, I guess so, because I feel like somebody should respond to it, but I also don't want it to be me. And I honestly don't know how to respond to negative comments. I usually just want to hide in a hole. If anybody has any advice for that, I'm all ears, because I just don't want to say the wrong thing and make things worse. And then the final question is number 13. In regards to BookTube, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I suppose if the platform is still here and if I am, you know, still in good health and around to do so, I would still be making videos. You can't really predict where YouTube is going to be, but I have always been the kid who would like arrive late to a party and then completely overstay their welcome. So, you know, if I'm the last person who is still on BookTube just because I have the fear of missing out, then, you know, so be it. I really enjoy posting videos. You know, I do complain a lot of the time about the fact that I'm not really a massive fan of editing. I find scripting very hard. So you probably are thinking to yourself, like, Charlotte, why do you even do it if you find all of these things hard? It's because I do have like such a satisfaction for actually completing a video and being able to post it. I feel really proud of myself for doing that because I know that, you know, I have a hard time with public speaking. I have a hard time just talking generally. So the fact that I am able to sit down and somehow craft together a video, even if I do have to splice a lot of clips together, even if I do have to edit things in such a way that you can't tell that this video has taken me 36 minutes to film, despite the fact that it is now like, what, maybe a 20-minute video at most. You know, I'm pleased with myself. I've been able to create something. I'm really pleased with that. And yeah, long may it continue for at least as long as YouTube is here. So there we go. Those are all of my very rambly thoughts about the behind the BookTube tag. Please let me know any of your answers to these comments, even though I feel like I've seen so many people already make this video. And if you are a viewer and not a creator, I would also love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.